Hey friends, today is day 15 of Carnivore for me. So this is my official 2-week update. I'm here, I'm doing it. Last week was a difficult week, and not because of carnivore diet. I just had a lot going on and just felt very overwhelmed and stressed out. Work projects, school things with the kids, lots of appointments. It was just kind of a weird week. And so all week long, I was feeling kind of low and just not energetic, not excited, and it was really frustrating. I don't know, I think I was really hoping for some miracle with this diet where overnight everything was going to change, and this week almost felt like a setback for me. But now that I'm kind of out of that brain season, I am looking back at it with a little more clarity, and I can say there were a lot of really good positives there. You know, a lot of times when I'm feeling that, like that, if I'm feeling low or if I'm feeling overwhelmed, I will turn to sugar for the most part, ice cream or treats or cookies or something, just to kind of give myself like, oh, this will just help me feel better. Oh, this will make me feel better. And really, I mean, I know that cycle is, it's not going to make me feel better. Somewhere in my head, I still think maybe it will. And it continually just doesn't work. So this week, because I had determined to do carnivore and I'm going to do it, I'm not going to cheat on it. Did I still want those things? Yes. But I didn't give into it because I set a goal to do 30 days and I'm going to stick to it. So that was really a benefit. I also found that I was not spending a bunch of time worrying about what I was going to eat when it was time for meals and stuff like that, because I'm eating meat. And so if it falls into that category, I can eat it. So that was easier too. And I think maybe even took a little bit of that pressure and those choices off. So I didn't have as much decision fatigue either. So that was good. I had noticed a couple comments on my last update, that I thought were really interesting. The first one that stuck out to me was from David Clay, and he mentioned, I'm sorry, I'm looking at my phone, but he mentioned cooking a strip steak with some bacon wrapped shrimp on his grill and looking forward to it. And he said if he can think of ways to prepare meals and foods in a way that he's going to really enjoy, then it's looking forward to it as an event still, like, you know, like your dinner time thing would normally be, but looking forward to it instead of just thinking, oh, I'm on this diet, I have to eat meat, which I don't know anybody that's ever said I have to eat a steak, but you know what I mean? Like, in my head, I'm going, that's going to be the face he uses for the thumbnail. Anyway, but you know, just saying foods that you look forward to eating, not just I have to eat this, but what would make this taste good? What's a way I could cook this that's going to make it more interesting or more fun or different, so that you have something that you're looking forward to. Another one was from Erin, and she had mentioned making sure I am paying attention to my fat intake, and really that has continued to be an issue for me. I'm using cream, I'm using butter on anything I can manage. But I just have this hang up in my head still when it goes to eating fat. And so fat on steaks and stuff like that, I do the best I can, but I have a texture thing that kind of reflexes sometimes. I'm like, all right, that's enough, I can't do anymore. And then other times it is simply just the idea still of putting extra fat on kind of just gives me pause. And so I'm trying to overcome that, and I'm trying to do it in ways that are tasty and ways that make sense to me, but just keeping it simple and trying to find those ways to add it in without creating a diet or a way of eating where I'm like forcing myself to eat foods. You know what I mean? Like, I have to eat this, I have to do that, but something that I can work it in a way that I'm looking forward to. So that was the other thing. The last comment, though, I thought was so interesting, and I really had to think about it before I replied. And this one is from Captain Jack. He said, people leap into all sorts of diets, so why the hesitancy when they try carnivore? And I thought about that for a long time, and I don't know other than to say, you know, from the age we are young, it is ingrained into us that these are the food groups and a healthy balanced plate and the food pyramid and how many servings of each thing you should eat per day and what that should look like. And, you know, now they have the plates that are divided up, like this one should be filled with veggies, this one should be filled with fruit, this one should be filled with meat. It is so ingrained in us to look for that balanced diet, to look for those different food groups, to look for all the colors of the rainbow in the vegetables and fruits we're eating. So to go from that over to carnivore is a big leap, you know, like for a lot of diets, you're cutting out particular vegetables or carbs and sugar, which we can all pretty much agree aren't super great, you know, or you're cutting out specific fruits or even all fruits, saying, okay, they have a high sugar content, we're not going to eat those. But to go from everything needs to be balanced and everything in moderation to we're only eating meat, I think is a huge mindset shift for a lot of people. And I think that might be the hesitancy. I know when Aaron first started talking about it, I was kind of convinced it was not a great idea for him because, like most of the world, you know, that thing in your head that says, well, you need to eat lettuces, you need to eat green vegetables, you need to eat carrots for your eyesight, and you need to eat whatever the rest of them are. You know, you going from that where it just feels super important to eat all of the things to going to just eating meat and assuming we're going to get all of our nutrients from that, and of course adding in electrolytes. It just seems like a big mindset shift to me. So I thought that was really interesting. I would love to hear your comments. What is that looking like for you? Are you one of those people who has jumped in and said, I've done my research, I'm ready to just eat meat? Or are you one of those people who is still hesitant to try carnivore because of those things that has been ingrained in you? And honestly, I'm still a little bit on the fence with it. I still think there's nutrients in vegetables that are important, and I think I need to do some more research to figure out what that balance looks like and how does that change and how do our bodies change when we're using a carnivore diet. You know, how does that change and affect what I actually need? How does that change the other things that I need to make sure my body is getting to be healthy and strong? So just as a measurements check-in, I'm down about 4 pounds. I've seen some changes in measurements in my waist. Specifically, that's when I've seen the most change in. So I am seeing some physical changes. And I am thankful for those markers and all the different markers just to kind of give me a good reminder that change is happening, even like last week when I was not feeling it, when I was not, you know, seeing the results that you people have talked about, not seeing the clearness in thought and the lack of the brain fog and increased energy and all of that. And logically, I know the seasons are changing. I had a lot of stressful things going on, and so it is okay. So just pushing through it. And again, looking at those markers that I am seeing changing gives me something to look at when I feel like the non-measurable markers are pretty static or going backwards, as was the case last week. So thank you again for your encouragement and hanging out with us. We are going to continue to try and post at least a weekly update for my journey. Aaron, of course, is still working on his journey and updates with that and different things he's learning about carnivore. So thank you so much for hanging out with us, and we'll talk soon.